Hello, nerds! Nerds for humanity. It is time for Nerd News Tonight. And we're going to do 4 stories from across the political spectrum. It's the only news show where you're going to hear it from every angle. We have a story from the New York Times on the Gaza death toll reaching 20,000. Then we go to the Wall Street Journal to look at a story about the Harvard president plagiarizing. Oops. And then we go to Fox News. They've got a story about a Hunter Biden prosecutor. And finally, we wrap it up with CNN talking about a taped phone call between Donald J. Trump when he was still president. What would be the word? Interfering with the counting of votes. So 4 stories in 15 minutes or less, hopefully. Let's go into the Gaza story first. Let's go to New York Times. Gaza deaths surpass any Arab loss in wars with Israel in the past 40 years. The death toll reported in Gaza has reached 20,000, according to officials in the territory, the heaviest loss on the Arab side in any war with Israel since the 1982 Lebanon invasion. Death toll was close to 20,000. Counting of the dead has become challenging. Most experts say the figure is likely an undercount. Most experts say the figure is an undercount and express shock at the enormity of the loss. Some military experts said people have been killed more quickly in this war than during the deadliest stages of the U.S.-led wars in Afghanistan or Iraq. Azmi Kashawi, Gaza analyst for the International Crisis Group think tank, said the war was more horrifying than any he had experienced before. He said that he and his family had fled his home in northern Gaza and moved 6 times. They now live in a tent near a UN shelter in the southern city of Rafah. The Israeli military has engaged in an intense air and ground campaign to eliminate Hamas, the armed Palestinian group that rules Gaza and led the October 7th attack that officials said killed about 1,200 people in Israel, including hundreds of soldiers. The high death toll reflects on how Israel has chosen to wage the war using thousands of airstrikes, heavy bombs, and artillery in a small territory densely packed with civilians who cannot escape. Israel has said Hamas built an extensive tunnel network underground to shield its fighters and weapons, putting civilian infra and people on the ground in the line of fire. So that is the New York Times story on approaching 20,000 people killed, mostly civilians. Yeah, I'll just give you my quick thoughts on that. Like, I get it that Israel is trying to go after Hamas and Hamas is hiding in these tunnels. I'm not sure that bombing the apartments and hospitals on top of those tunnels is going to produce the results that Israel wants. And I worry that it implicates the U.S., given that many of those bombs and missiles are supplied by the U.S. But anyway, this is not a commentary show. I just had to give you my quick thoughts. But I'm curious, like, let me know in the comments if you think there should be any conditions upon which Israel should use military aid from the U.S. Next story is switching sides to the Wall Street Journal, and it is about Harvard. Harvard stands behind its president, Claudine Gay, after new plagiarism allegations. Gay will update her PhD dissertation, but school calls newest claims meritless. Okay, so it says Harvard is continuing to support its president amid a fresh round of accusations that she plagiarized other academics throughout her career. The newest charges have amplified questions about her research integrity and position at the helm of the prestigious Ivy League institution. Gay will update her dissertation to add attributions in 3 spots, but again, she was cleared of research misconduct by a board subcommittee. The school also said that it received an anonymous complaint early in the week providing dozens of additional instances of alleged plagiarism, but that most had already been reviewed and 4 were deemed to be without merit. Harvard provided the new details about the review of Gay's work as it faces criticism that it was holding Gay to a different standard than it does for its own students, and that its review didn't follow school protocol. Gay didn't immediately respond to a message seeking comment on the latest review of her past work. So that's from the Wall Street Journal. As a Harvard alum, I am a little bit disturbed by these allegations. And I'm pretty sure if a student did this kind of thing, they would be maybe suspended. And you could argue the president of Harvard should be held to an even higher standard. But yeah, that's the Wall Street Journal story about the president of Harvard, Claudine Gay. Hello, we got a member in the audience. Hey, Jeremy. That's 2 days in a row. I'm glad you're enjoying our daily nerd news or nightly nerd news or whatever the hell we're calling this series. Let me know in the comments what we should call this thing. I put a poll up. There was like a whole bunch of options. We were thinking of maybe, where the hell was it? Daily nerd news tonight. The daily nerd, I don't know. And you're welcome, Arez. Okay. Oh, I appreciate you appreciating the commentary. All right, so now let's move on. So we did New York Times, Wall Street Journal, halfway through. Let's go to Fox News. This one is about so the Fox News headlines are always like super punchy. Like really designed to kind of get a rise out of you. Former prosecutor accused of limiting questions about Joe Biden denies politics played a role in Hunter probe. You know, this is the art of a headline here. Like if you scan this, it looks like it's pretty sure like there was something bad. But if you really read it, it's basically saying that the prosecutor denies that politics played a role. But that's not how the headline comes across. Let's actually read the article. The former assistant U.S. attorney who allegedly worked to limit, in quotes, questions about Joe Biden denied that politics played a role in the Hunter Biden investigation during an interview with the House Judiciary Committee. Former assistant U.S. attorney Leslie Wolf testified she would not be permitted to answer most of the questions you have for me due to the ongoing nature of the federal criminal investigation into the first son. Wolf, who recently left the Justice Department, a decision that long predated allegations against her, was subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee to appear for a deposition. Wolf appeared before the House Judiciary Committee last week for a voluntary transcribed interview after the Justice Department negotiated terms with the panel. After an interview, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan said Wolf refused to answer most of our questions. Well, so basically, this whole story on Fox News is about how the former prosecutor was subpoenaed. They said that they couldn't answer questions because it's an ongoing investigation. And then that's it. So, yeah. But, you know, that's Fox News for you. we gotta try and give a spread. So I had the New York Times, I have Wall Street Journal, we did the Fox News, and now we'll look at CNN. Although I have to say, this is 2 days in a row where Fox News headlines, like they don't seem to kind of live up. The article doesn't live up to the headline. Let's see CNN. Okay. This is an interview between Aaron Burnett.
What I heard listening to the audio of this conversation was the then president of the United States.
Oh, hold on a second. I want to make sure you guys can hear the audio. Share screen. Share tab audio. Yep. Okay, share.
States encouraging, pressuring, continuing, arguing in favor of these two Republican county canvassers not signing the certification of the 2020 election for Wayne County. Wayne County is a Democratic stronghold in Michigan, and it's the state's largest county as well.
So is there anything else, that could have happened in the other minutes of the call, or how are you aware of exactly how long the call was, or anything else that you may not have heard that could, change the context here or add context?
All right. So basically, they had someone who reviewed a tape recording of Detroit News reviewed an audio recording of a 2020 call in which former President Donald Trump allegedly pressured two GOP canvassers not to certify the 2020 election, which, I mean, if you imagine if Joe Biden was calling a bunch of people to say, hey, in a state that they're saying he lost, saying like, don't certify, I'm pretty sure Fox News would be like going ballistic, saying, how can a sitting president from the Oval Office be pressuring states for who have their own rights to decide how to do their elections? How could the president pressure them and offer to pay for their lawyers if they get into trouble? But yeah, so those are the four stories. Gaza death toll nears 20,000. That is New York Times. Harvard stands behind plagiarism allegations for Claudine Gay. Fox News reported that the former prosecutor of Hunter Biden basically refused to answer questions because it's an ongoing investigation. CNN is reporting that there is a tape recording of Donald Trump pressuring Michigan election observers or canvassers not to certify the results, and that he offered to pay for their attorneys. So that's it for tonight's news, and we did it under 15 minutes. I want to give a shout out to the people who make this channel possible, which is our channel members. And then I'm going to give you some bonus commentary after I do my shout outs. But let me quickly do that. All right. And by the way, if you guys want to support the channel, just click the join link on YouTube and you can make this content, keep this channel going, basically. So at the highest level, we have Soldier One, who is a senior vice president. And Soldier One's awesome. He's been supporting the channel for 44 months. Jesus. God bless him. Then at the VP level, we have Kristen Slevin and Bike. Kristen is nearing the 4-year mark for supporting this channel. Then you've got Hardcore Nerds, Gene, David, DK, Jackalego, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Mickey, Yoda, Unkiyu. And then the entry level, which is only $1.99 a month, you got Lisa, Brandon, Sophia, Doris, Emerald, Ben, Shoni, Dr. William, Karen, Mai, Brittany, Lori, Wanda, Kevin, Hope, T, Jeremy, David, Nicholas, Mike, Zig, Roberto, Jackson, Lantern, Cindy, and Alice. So thank you for supporting the channel. Okay, some closing thoughts, and then I'll look in the comments as well if you guys want to share anything. On the Gaza thing, I'm thinking it's starting to look disproportionate and indiscriminate. And given that it's funded by the U.S., I feel like we've got to get more involved with how that war is being prosecuted. No, for sure, no boots on the ground, but maybe having some guardrails for the IDF. Second, on the Harvard president thing, you know, if there's one more allegation about plagiarism that hasn't been talked about, I think she's going to have to go. It just seems inconsistent with how the honor code is followed. So I know that's tough because she's a historic president. I'm sure she's super impressive, but like, you know, you're not supposed to take other people's work without citations. Number 3, on the Fox Hunter Biden thing, it's like, my God, I almost feel like that was a waste of a story for Fox. Let me give them one more try. There must be a different story we can do on Fox, because that one was just lame. Let's see. Let's go back to their homepage. Oh my God, this is like the biggest thing on the top of their page, and it's a freaking non-story. Oh, all right. Okay, improperly appointed. Special counsel in Trump case unconstitutional, former Reagan attorney general says. Interesting.
At PG&E, we're adding more safe and affordable.
Former Attorney General Ed Meese has presented arguments to the Supreme Court that they should reject Jack Smith's request because he was unconstitutionally appointed in the first place. Meese, along with law professors Calabrese and Lawson, filed a friend of the court brief Wednesday to present the case that Merrick Garland's appointment of Smith is in violation of the Appointments Clause. Not clothed in the authority of the federal government, Smith is a modern example of the naked emperor. Improperly appointed, he has no more authority to represent the United States in this court than Bryce Harper, Taylor Swift, or Jeff Bezos. The brief was filed in response to Smith's request to the court to expedite Trump's case. Meese argues that the illegality of Smith's appointment is sufficient to sink Smith's petition, and the court should deny review. So, interesting. I think they're basically saying not that they're not saying that the attorney general should not be able to appoint someone to investigate Trump's participation in the insurrection, but they're saying you can't appoint. They're saying you can't appoint a private attorney. That you can only appoint someone who was already inside of the DOJ. Now, I mean, I presume Garland could have just hired Jack Smith and then appointed him. So, I don't know. I'm not super impressed with Fox News tonight, or probably most nights. The top of their page was a non-story, basically that the former prosecutor refused to answer questions about an ongoing investigation. And then the next thing we looked at was, well, that was a little more interesting, which is someone filing a brief to the Supreme Court saying that the special counsel should not be allowed to investigate Trump because they were appointed by the attorney general, but they were appointed as a private citizen. That's kind of interesting. So if this gets 20 likes, I'll do another one tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll take Friday off. But hopefully this was helpful to you, and we'll see you next time. Bye, nerds.